I Have This Old Gun is presented by the official rare coin and bullion dealer of the National Rifle Association, Universal Coin and Bullion.
Gene Stoner was a genius. His Armalite rifle designs are serving all over the world today. And some of his operating principles, like those developed for the AR-18, AR-180, are used in other guns.
A lot of people think the AR-18 was designed by Gene Stoner, and Stoner would have been the first to correct such a statement. He did not design the AR-18, he designed its predecessor, the AR-16, which differed fundamentally. The AR-18 was developed by taking the concept of the AR-16 and downsizing it to accept the 5.56 millimeter cartridge.
The AR-18 modified the existing M16's design. It was a select fire carbine. It differed from the M16 in that it did not use the direct gas impingement operating system. It used a short stroke gas piston operating system. And then differing also from the M16, the AR-18 made use of, rather than aluminum in the receiver, it made use of cost-effective manufacturing techniques using sheet metal and welding.
The AR-180 is the civilian or semi-automatic version of the Armalite AR-18. This is a 5.56 firing mechanism that is an upgrade really from the AR-15, which due to financial constraints had actually been sold to Colt by Fairchild back in 1959. So this was actually a gun product that Armalite introduced to the civilian marketplace in 1969. They hadn't licensed off or sold off to another company that they could actually, if successful, produce a great deal of profit and notoriety from.
To my way of thinking, the AR-180 was sort of a gun ahead of its time that simply got subsumed by the AR-15 acquisition by the military and proliferation of its design in so many numbers and use by the military.
The AR-18 was tested twice by the U.S. military. A lot of developmental problems showed up in the course of the Army's first testing. They broke a lot of pieces. That sent Armalite and Art Miller back to the drawing boards. And by the time Armalite was ready, they thought they were ready, with the modified AR-18, the Army was really too far down the road with the AR-15. But in the end, there was no mistaking the result. The gun still wasn't ready.
What the Armalite AR-180 and AR-18 brought to the table was its operating system. The operating system of the AR-18, AR-180 is a short stroke gas piston. This is a design that has since found a lot of traction in current rifles, and that's because it was a very, very good idea at the time, as it is now.
They tried to sell the gun overseas. There was a package, a prospectus put together between Armalite and, surprisingly, with Lockheed Aircraft to offer third world countries a turnkey factory operation that would produce the AR-18 indigenously. This did not meet with a great deal of success either.
The AR-180, the semi-automatic only version of the AR-18, went on to some success in commercial circles. The guns came out of three different sources, Howa of Japan, Sterling of England, and of course the original Armalite, which at that time was Costa Mesa, California. And so you see examples of these guns come up occasionally at gun shows. The only knock about the gun, in my mind, is that even though the cross-sectional profile of the magazine is identical to the AR-15, unfortunately, because the AR-180 or AR-18 had a different style of magazine release, the magazine catch interfaces with a different slot in the magazine than it does with the AR-15. So the magazines are not interchangeable. Otherwise, picking up an AR-180 today at a gun show puts one well in league with the modern infantry rifles of today in the sense of its basic features.
Some years later, a successor company that called itself also Armalite, but had no relation to the earlier company except that it purchased its intellectual properties and its trademarks, marketed a gun which was a composite of the upper of an AR-180 with a plastic lower. And they marketed this for a few years. It never quite caught on, and it was quietly euthanized. You don't want to say that, do you? No, it was quietly discontinued. It was allowed to lapse.
I Have This Old Gun, brought to you by Universal Coin and Bullion, the official rare coin and bullion dealer of the National Rifle Association. Visit us online for other I Have This Old Gun videos at AmericanRifleman.org.